Hey, and first up this week is going to be City of Goblins in the System, book number one, written by Peter Zorkolov. I hope I say that right. We'll see. It is 328 pages, $3.99. It's available on Kindle Unlimited, and here's the author's description. Ivan Susanin, a typical guy and unemployed techie, is initiated by the system and transported together with 1,000 other players to an unknown location beyond Earth. Ivan has an interface, a spear, and basic weapon skills. All he has to do to return to Earth is complete a simple quest and reach the second level. But experience points are only awarded for kills in this game, and the clock is ticking. Whoever doesn't score within the 24 hours will remain in the location forever. The game takes place in the ruins of a massive city where the undead lurk in the central districts and the outskirts are raided by descendants of past owners. The undead are strong, while the goblins rarely move around alone and aren't worth much XP. The most valuable prey under these conditions are formal allies, i.e. other players. The player is capable of killing a fellow human, of course. Even if they aren't planning to go against their own nature by murdering innocents, who said that they will have a choice? It's kill or be killed. Those who can complete the quest will return to Earth, where they can rest and prepare for the next attempt. Beyond the local objective is also a global one. In the center of the city stands a temple of the fallen gods, and until one of the players captures the altar, the mission will be repeated again and again. But when all you're holding is a spear, your allies can't be trusted, and resurrection is nearly impossible. This isn't much more than a delayed death sentence. For the first 7 players who become the Earth Gods, this mission is a chance to rapidly gain power and take charge of a united pantheon. A chance to escape death and protect our world from invasion. Although there is only one altar and the gods make others do their work, Ivan must make a choice and decide whose pawn he will become. Or should he take a risk, refuse their patronage, and keep his options open? Man, that is a long description there of this. So there you go. It is overly wordy, to be honest. This is a Russian translation novel that is mostly closely related to the RPG apocalypse subgenre. It is 1,000 people from Earth transported to a different world where they get RPG powers and interface from giving quests to survive and other objectives. Only the world isn't empty and the main characters has to survive the goblin hordes that are trying to kill them, all the humans. It's kind of like an RPG apocalypse. It's just not set on there. So that's what I'm saying. It's most closely, it's not quite an RPG apocalypse because it's not set on Earth. But it has similar qualities. The scope of the story goes from a survival of the one person, the main character, and him learning about the new system that he's gotten into, to something with larger groups of humans trying to survive in a new world against a large army of goblins. That's kind of what the story is in a nutshell. The main character gets quests. He actually goes through 2 quest scenarios where it's like every quest he's transported to this goblin world, and if he fulfills the terms of the quest, he gets them back to Earth, where he keeps his RPG powers. He gets the increased strength, intelligence, charisma, whatever the case is his particular power set. All that goes back to Earth with him, even though he's only there for, a month or whatever. So there are some real life RPG aspects, but they're not really developed in this particular novel. Just the main character kind of training in the real world to try to maximize his chances of surviving the next forced mission, because he's not given a choice about these missions. He's literally teleported to this other world where he's like, here's a quest, do it or die, essentially. So it that's why it has a lot of like RPG apocalypse kind of vibes to it. And the story scope kind of goes very quickly from the first having him as the main character in the first mission set, surviving, learning the rules, to the second mission where it's very much he has to essentially cooperate with this like much larger group of humans to survive an army of goblins coming in, and those are the 2 kind of plot lines here. The game mechanics in the story are intricate. There's lots of exploration of these mechanics. Nothing like too super new for everybody. There's stats, levels, abilities that increase your practice, experience points from killing monsters or players or the undead or whatever the case is. I think the loot system is probably the most unique in that there are different cards that drop from either dead monsters or players or characters. They give you system equipment. That's the only kind of equipment that lets you like get experience points from killing other creatures, or sometimes rare skills or abilities, which is kind of the story's way of expanding the main character's system abilities. So instead of him, he does, as he levels, gets the opportunity to choose some powers, but those are limited. So the more people he kills, the more monsters he kills, he actually gets more abilities and powers and skills that way that he can either choose to upgrade or leave alone or whatever the case is. So there's a lot of development, like, oh, is he going to use the experience points he's getting from these kills to either upgrade abilities or skills or to actually level? And so that's kind of the game dilemma in the story. Overall, it's a very action-focused story. Again, it kind of has this nice apocalypse survival vibe when the main character's in the goblin world. And aside from the abrupt ending, the pacing is really good. Like, there's a constant thread of action, survival, nice little tension when he's in the goblin world. Although personally, I like the early solo journey a little bit more than the later one. Still, very entertaining story. Gets a score of 7.6 out of 10 for me, which is a good score. That's City of Goblins. I enjoyed it. Got the score of 7.6 out of 10.